A-listers Adrien Brody and Tessa Thompson making their Broadway debuts in The Fear of 13, based on the documentary of the same name. Adrien Brody plays Nick Yarris, the man who spent years on death row for a crime he didn't commit, exonerated years later by DNA. I sat down with Oscar winner Adrien Brody. Did you know that this was a play, this was the time to come to the stage?
Yeah, I thought that once I read the play, I was so moved by it that I couldn't read it without crying, weeping. Nick's story is so complex and tragic and yet full of hope and redemption that I thought it was just so beautiful, and the writing was so beautiful. I think part of what moved me was how eloquently Lindsay Ferrantino, who wrote the play, portrayed this nuanced journey of telling Nick's life, and it just really spoke to me. And that's saying a lot because, you know, I was quite apprehensive about jumping in back on the stage after many, many years. I hadn't done a play since I was very young. It's a very vastly different process from my normal routine of doing my work.
Well, I heard you say to somebody in an interview, wow, movies are so much easier upon looking
I'm
at
half
this.
kidding. I mean,
Yeah.
the movies aren't easy, but you have a lot at your disposal to assist when things don't flow. And I think the joy and pain of doing theater is to have to harness and your own physical, emotional, intellectual being has to carry the responsibility of remaining present and editing, being aware of timing, humor, depth, relationships with the other characters, pacing of the play, and you have to carry that responsibility night after night and be present in the shoes of the person you're playing. So it's very exciting.
You've met Nick and talked to him. Did you spend a lot of time with him? What do you do in those conversations? I mean, his story is just amazing. His energy is next level for what he has been through and what's happened. Were you familiar with his story at all?
Not prior to this, but Nick and I have spent quite a bit of time, and he's a remarkable person, a remarkable storyteller, and gregarious and just full of an enthusiasm for life and an empathetic nature. And so in spite of all of these horrific circumstances in his life, they've been really horrific and deeply unjust, he has this remarkable quality of someone who's very conscious of the value of time and the preciousness of every moment, and of how he wants to both present himself to you and to be available to you. We could all learn from that.
When I met him, it's just his energy and watching you and being up there in the balcony and seeing him cry, and I thought he's had to have seen this so many times, and still all that emotion seems to go back to the very big raw beginning when he watches.
Yes, I'm sure it must be very hard to, no matter how many times you've dissected your own circumstances, to hear it and have it be invoked, to have someone channeling you to channel aspects of your youth and of mistakes, of loss and longing and love and all of these things that are deeply personal and that you've been brave enough to share. But it is quite wonderful having him. I like him in the audience. It guides me. I always have him as a beacon because I know where he sits, and when I can see his silhouette in the shadow, in the balcony, there are many things elements of the play and moments that I will address towards him or almost look to him to inspire within me, to bring me back to truths of both his kind of playful nature, but also the kind of when it has to come back to a really intimate and sensitive place.
How does it feel being welcomed into the Broadway community like you are? I heard there's a Sardi's character that's going to be...
I'm so excited about that. I can't tell you.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't. I'm always a bit apprehensive about a caricature being made of me. Actually, I'm very honored to be included in that esteemed group of people with so many wonderful people, and Jack Lemmon and you name it. There's so many incredible people. So.
Do you know who you're going to be up next to?
No, I don't. I don't know.
Pick?
That'd be really cool. We'll know soon.
I can't wait to see it.
It's very exciting.
I'm going to stop by.
Yeah, but I love the Broadway community, and I've always had such admiration for actors and all the people involved to put on a stage production. But the task of doing this 8 shows a week and devoting so much of your being to sharing and that wonderful connection with an audience, which is you do not get in any other medium that I've experienced. You do not get that sense of communion and togetherness and inspiration from an audience. You really are. Sometimes I feel it's just such a beautiful thing of people deeply connected to something that then empowers you to be more connected.